Hi, my name is Shannon Schultz-Wooten, and I am a clarity of consciousness coach. I understand that hearing that you're probably like, and what the hell does that mean? It's very dynamic and it's very fluid, and I intentionally designed it that way because we are very dynamic and fluid. Our world is dynamic and fluid. But if I could put it into a soundbite for somebody, what I help people do is notice where they're operating from a one-sided, rigid perspective in their life to help them bring in all attributes and all possibilities. Help them to notice what the perspective is and how that's shaping their universe. Allow them to see where perhaps they're operating under a model that has been ingrained in them, has been taught to them, or is something that they needed to pick up in order to survive and to feel safe. But for whatever reason, that model is no longer functioning in the way that it used to, in the way that we thought or believed or experienced worked well for us. And therefore, it's requiring us to notice in our lives that we're feeling restricted, and perhaps where there's opportunity for a perspective shift and where there is opportunity to try something different, to notice a way of operating more fuller, more intentional, and more freer in our lives. Essentially, whenever somebody comes to me, it's typically in a very angsty, resistant, suffocating space. And I know that that doesn't sound glamorous. It's not glamorous to feel that way either, but it's true. It happens. In life, we do feel restricted and suffocated, and we do go through struggle and suffering. So by the time somebody reaches me, they're usually very clear on what it is that they don't want anymore. They're very clear about what it is they would like to change, but something in them or about them feels incapable, maybe even frozen, out of practice, unfamiliar, rigid, or numb to being stable, secure, and visible in doing it. When you have a good idea of what it is that you don't want, you're poised to figure out exactly what you do. I remember the very first time I ever had my first experience with one-sided rigidity. The first experience I ever had, I was in kindergarten, and I was being held back because of decisions being made outside of me. And I remember walking into the kindergarten classroom for the second time, and that wasn't the issue for me. The issue for me was watching all of the friends that I had made go into a different classroom, go into their first grade classroom, and moving on without me. I remember that feeling of rejectedness. I remember feeling invisible. I remember feeling broken, wrong, unimportant, and shame. These are similar situations that I experience with clients. There's a rejectedness that they're trying to resolve. There's an embedded shame that feels like it takes more of their essence than anything else. And there is a confusion, unfamiliarity, or even an imposter sensation in them that what they want for their lives is so far out of the realm of possibility for them that they don't even have the space to entertain it mentally. They have lost the possibility for themselves to believe that it could be what they think it could be. It could look like the way they envision it in their mind. It could feel and vibrate the way that they've always felt in the depths of the gut of their stomach and in the heights of their jubilation and in the most expansive element of their minds that they could be. Most people that come to me with a sensation that their life was only ever half as happy as they thought it could be. That they do have good things around them and they know it, but it feels like there's this invisible barrier between them and real life that's blocking them from feeling it fully. Not only blocking them from feeling it fully, but purely feeling that they have a right to their agency, a right to their happiness, a right to create the world that they want to live in. And for most of us, like the experience that I've described to you, which started for me in kindergarten, we have many of these experiences, compounded even experiences that work to almost prove to us that life is designed to only allow us to be half as happy as we think we could be. And there are benefits to acknowledging these instances of disappointment, resistance, shame, and rejection in our lives. And the advantage to them is that they can become a tool. They can become a leverage point that allows us to spot them, to notice when we are in a myopic, one-sided, not diversified, not dynamic perspective of life. They can help us to see where we're operating from fear in a way that is restricting us and restricting our capacity and making us feel that that is all there is available for someone like us. They can cause us to feel like we're not special. There's nothing special about us. And when we learn to spot these harsh feelings, the heaviness, the restrictedness, the bad feelings, we can start to develop a new relationship with them. One that doesn't make us feel like we need to retreat. One that doesn't make us feel like we're not capable of facing them. And one that doesn't make us feel like there isn't possibility for them to be transmuted or alchemized into a leverage point for us that we can use to our advantage. So as I said at the beginning of this, I'm a clarity of consciousness coach. And what that means to me, what that means to you is going to be different. It's dynamic, it's fluid. Because while we all have the relationship to struggle and suffering in our lives, and to those bad feelings, that heaviness, that restrictedness that we feel, each one of our bad experiences, those heaviness experiences, they're different. We have the opportunity to relate in having them, but in what they entail is different. Clarity of consciousness allows us to acknowledge the importance in accepting difference, allows us to see it as our ally, and allows us to soften to it so that it no longer shocks us in a way that makes us frozen and numb and feeling hopeless. Allows us to view our life through the perspective of, this is one side of the experience I'm having. Am I having the full experience? Clarity of consciousness allows us to take our time. It allows us to pause. It allows us to think before we act and we move with intention. It allows us to acknowledge that it takes as long as it takes. I don't offer a one-size-fits-all prescription for my coaching. I don't offer a paint-by-numbers perspective. And I don't promise get there quick schematics. I believe in life, it takes as long as it takes. I am a byproduct of this experience. It has taken me many years to get to this point in my life. Many support systems, many leaders and mentors, therapists, practitioners, doulas, energy healers, coaches. I've had a lot of support to learn what it means to take my time in coming to a place of balance in myself. And I'm still learning, and I will continue to still learn it, as I believe we all will, because by design, we evolve. And by design, I don't believe that happiness is something that we can label as, what's the word? Prescribed? I don't even believe that it's something that we can depend on, because as we change and grow, it is going to change and grow too. So my invitation for any of you, all of you watching, and if any part of this lands with you and feels good to you, is to just lean into that. Lean into what sounds good about this, what feels good in your body consciously about having the opportunity to be as dynamic as you are, to acknowledge good feelings and bad feelings as on the menu and all helpful, and also acknowledging that your life is art, and that we get the opportunity, each one of us, to decide the world that we want to live in. But being conscious requires us to understand that it is we who need to create that art. It is we who need to mine our accountability and our responsibility to that perspective, to what we want, what we sense and feel and think as being whole in ourselves, to create it for ourselves. I do believe it's possible. I also believe that it's gnarly work. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy. I'm going to tell you that it's going to be worth it. And maybe that sounds cliche because it's a pervasive quote, but I also think that it's pervasive because it's relevant. The same way I believe that treating people the way that you want to be treated and understanding that we each have different ways that we want to be treated is also relevant. That giving people the benefit of the doubt is relevant. Believing in the goodness in each other is relevant. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity to come and share with you today. I hope for the opportunity to share more things like this with you in the future, to talk more about the difficulties in life and using them to our vantage point and to our benefit to grow and change so that each one of us can live more whole in our happiness and in the audacity to see our life as the creative, artistic expression it is, and to discern that the world that we want to live in is something we each get to create. And how awesome it can be when we get to feel confident, stable, and secure in ourselves, to have compassion for the amount of effort and work and energy it takes for someone to feel stable, secure, and confident in themselves, and learn how to co-create living in worlds that each of us feels stable, visible, and supported in together. If any part of this resonates with you, please feel free to share it. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Otherwise, I look forward to talking with you soon. Have a great day. Be good to yourself.